Hey, welcome everyone to Morning Flow. We'll get going in about 5 minutes. Until then, I will set up the camera so you all can enjoy a nice sunrise. Well, welcome everyone to Morning Flow. I hope you enjoyed that sunrise, or the start thereof. I'll probably have to close the curtains in a little bit here, just because it gets really, really bright. Anyway, let's get going with our yoga practice here. I invite you to find the top of your yoga space. We're practicing here with Kathy. Why don't you set up over here, Kathy?
Oh, sure.
If you're ready to go. Don't worry about it. Try to get a little more height here. I'm going to switch the orientation. And then we'll go wide once Kathy joins. All right. So finding the top of your yoga space, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum, lining up each finger. Relax shoulders tall through the crown with a slight tuck of the chin. Softening the eyes. If you're comfortable with closing your eyes. And we'll take a few breaths just to watch our breath as it flows in and out. Arriving here in our yoga space, ready for a morning yoga practice. From this place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath to find a long, slow inhalation, matched by a long, slow exhalation. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing near to the top of the chest, the base of the belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll encourage you to draw the low belly in and up, abdominal engagement. Also lifting the kidneys in and up, almost like squeezing a tube of toothpaste to get a little more toothpaste out. Squeezing that air out, also providing structural support for a low back as we breathe. To this deeper, fuller breath, I'll invite you to find the Ujjayi or ocean breath, a go-to breath in many flow practices. A slight constriction of the base of your throat to add a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of your breath be a focus for your practice, often compared to the sound of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. Now finding Jiva Bandha, tip of the tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth, trying to keep that connection throughout the practice, keeping our jaws relaxed and connecting front and back planes of our body. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, hands find the hips. As we stand tall, we get ready to start our practice. Kathy's joined us, so let's go wide here. Hi, Kathy. Whoops. Rotate your phone. Oh, you can't turn your phone while recording. Okay. So now we know that. All right, so we're going to stay this perspective here. Yeah, we'll do what we do. Okay. Anyway, warming up our shoulders, we'll inhale the arms up and over the head. Exhaling arms down. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling arms down. One more time. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling arms down. Adding a forward fold. Inhaling arms up. On the exhale, finding a forward fold. Take a breath to find length as you look up. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, fold. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. 1 more like this. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling as we fold again. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Surya Namaskar with or without vinyasa. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, finding either your down dog or cycling through vinyasa as you find yoga push-up, Inhaling into up dog or cobra, yoga back bend. We'll try to get a little more floor action here. See if you can see Kathy. There she is. And then stretching it back to your down dog. As we hold down dog, breathing, watching that breath as it flows in and out, and enjoying that meditation upon your breath. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your yoga space. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, hands over head pose. Exhaling, standing tall. Second one just like the first. Inhaling out. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, back to down dog as you will. Either stretching straight back or cycling through yoga push-up, chaturanga. Inhaling into yoga back bend, cobra, up dog. And then exhaling back to your down dog and holding. As we hold down dog, I'll invite you to bring your attention to your hands. Lots of space between each finger. And then grounding down a little more predominantly between the thumb and the forefinger as we draw the energy up the inseams of the arms. Shoulders engaged, either keeping your neck relaxed and your head super, super heavy, or lengthening through all sides of the neck as you look back towards your navel. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Nice jump. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, fold. Inhaling, hands over head pose. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one Surya Namaskar B. It starts with the chair, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, back of the head in line with the sacrum as we inhale the hands up and over the head. Adding an extra breath, exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, glutes engaged to support a back bend at the top. On the exhale, a big solo on dive over. Take a breath to find length, and then breathing out, back to down dog as you will, either stretching straight back or cycling through vinyasa. Take your time, find your flow. There's no rush at all. From down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky for the three-legged dog. High on the left toes. And then looking between the hands, bringing that right foot on through. Landing it lightly. Hands can always find the hips as you find your balance. And then two arms high overhead for our warrior one. On your next exhale, spinning the palms out. Finding your low lunge as you come back down to the ground. Spinning back heel up. And then back to down dog. As you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Let your breath make the call. Always balancing your effort with your ease. From down dog when you're ready. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Looking between the hands as you sweep that left foot through. Spinning the back heel down, finding your balance. Arms up and over the head for your warrior one. And then riding the next exhale down, spinning palms out, finding your low lunge. And from low lunge back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. As we hold our down dog, coming back to that even breath, that Samavriti, same inhale, same exhale, every aspect, duration, intensity, location. Always feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step, or maybe take a jump front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, fold it. On the inhale, stay low. We'll come back to our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, standing tall. I'll invite you to bring hands to heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum as you line up each finger. And then I'll invite you to add an option as we press the hands together, elbows out to the side, shoulders engaged, a tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin as we connect with the strength of our center. And then hands by our side. From here, let's step or jump our feet hip width apart. On the inhale, we're going to bring the arms out to the side. On the exhale, we're going to cross the hands in front, give those wrists a little flick. And then second side, other cross. And we'll do 6 of these. We're halfway done. 2 more to go each way. 1 more each side. And then back up. And hands by our side. Let's keep the feet hip width apart as we bring our hands to the back of our hips, the fingers face down. Knees are a little bit soft as we circle our hips for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll take those hip circles the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now let's bring 4 fingers to the tip of our thumb, bird beak hands. We're going to try to touch the front of the wrist as we stretch out the back of the wrist. We're going to bring those bird beaks onto our shoulders, and we're going to circle our shoulder girdle for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to take it the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back home. From here, 2 arms in the air like you either do or don't care. We'll take the hips one way, shoulders the other for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll take it the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back home. From here, let's step or jump our feet in, thin like a pin. From here, we'll find our chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Surya Namaskar C, an extended standing pose sequence. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. Engage those glutes to support the back bend. On the exhale, a big Sawandai. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Yogi's choice. Deep, full breaths. Beautiful. From here, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, finding a 3-legged dog, right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes. Without overly disturbing the shoulders, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips, right hip on top of left. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip, awesome. And then looking between the hands as you sweep that foot on through, spinning the back heel down, arms up and over the head for your warrior 1. Sideways long, arms long, finding our warrior 1. From here, we're going to bring our hands back to our hips. We're going to shift the weight onto the front foot to lengthen our stance. Steering the hips front, and again, finding those bird beaks. As we try to touch the front of our wrists, we stretch out the back of our wrists as we bring hands onto our shoulders. Squaring the shoulders front and relaxing those shoulders. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, and then stretching those hands high to the sky. From here with the breath, inhaling, gathering up the energy. On the exhale, cactus arms as we offer it out. And let's do this a few times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We're halfway done here. Breathing in, breathing out, last 2. Breathing in, breathing out, last 1. Breathing in, breathing out. I'll invite you to hold these cactus arms. The elbows move back, the hands come with. Feel free to wiggle those fingers. And then turning warrior 1 into warrior 2 as hands find the heart. We open up the hips to face the side wall. We narrow the stance just a tad, and then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. From here, painting rainbows. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in Breathing out, last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out, last 1. Breathing in and holding. As we reach up a little higher, we reach down a little further. Feel the stretch. Enjoy that stretch. You might wiggle those fingers. Why not? And then back to our warrior 2. From here, finding a rainbow warrior. A clasp of the fingers behind the back. Shoulder blades back and down onto rib shelf. And then leading with the heart as we take a forward fold inside that front leg. Initially, shoulders draw up and back towards the hips as we lengthen through all sides of the neck. And then I'll invite you to let those shoulders just hang down towards the floor as we get a nice stretch in our upper back. As we hold the shape, either holding it in relative stillness or adding a little swing, a little sway, releasing any tension in the neck and shoulders, and letting that tension drain down through the crown of the head, into the earth, where it's gone, at least for now. In our Rainbow Warrior, I'll suggest a strong tuck of the chin as we bring it on up, lifting the chin tall through the crown as we come back to our Warrior 2. Transitioning to Trikonasana, the triangle, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. As we deepen that crease, we lengthen those ribs. Grounding bottom hand down, we can use that left hand to open up left shoulder. We can stretch hand high to the sky, either looking down, off to the side, or up to the sky, with that mixture of effort and ease. Deep, full breaths. As we hold the triangle with every in-breath, finding your center of balance about a half hand below the navel. With every breath out, from that power place, getting bigger in space as you send energy out through 2 arms, 2 legs, and both ends of the spine. Now exploring that lateral top line, I'll invite you to exhale that top hand front as we turn our heart to the floor. On the inhale, lifting hand high as we spin heart to sky. Let's do this a few times. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. We're halfway done. Exhale and inhale. Last 2. Exhale and inhale. Last 1. Exhale and hold as we reach. Again, I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers. Now the bottom hand joins, pure side motion, arms frame the ears. We breathe 2 hands up. And exhale it over. Breathing it up. Exhale it over. Inhale it up. Exhale it over. We're halfway done. Up and over. Up and over. We got 1 more to go. Breathing it up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach. Again, wiggling those fingers. And then either back to the triangle or finding your half moon as hand finds the hip. We step the back foot in. I'll invite you to set your base with 2 hands this morning. Lifting that back leg. Now that left hand leaves the floor perhaps and finds the hip. We can use that left hand to open up left shoulder and then stretching that left hand high to the sky, either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky. Make a little adjustment. Nice. So long arm there. It's beautiful calf. Easy come down here. Hand finds the hip. We're going to land a short stance. Shifting the weight into the feet as we come on up. We can always add that second hand. Lengthening the stance as we scoot that foot back, coming back to our Warrior 2. And then I'll suggest a big windmill of the arms as we lift back, heel for low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. Again, take your time. Find your flow. And there she is. Make sure she's centered. Awesome. Big smile. And back to down dog. And we'll hold this for 2 or 3 breaths, just coming back to an even breath. It's a somewhat vigorous sequence. We want to be mindful of our ease in the midst of our great effort. Moving on to that second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Trying to keep the shoulders just as they are, stacking the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip. Awesome. And then we're going to swing that left foot on through, finding our Warrior 1. Arms up and over the head. In our Warrior 1, I'll invite you to bring hands back to the hips as we shift weight onto the front foot to lengthen our stance. We can use those hands to steer our hips front. They're not going to get there, but that energetic action stretches out some very subtle muscles on our hips. From here, we can find our bird beak hands. We stretch out the back of the wrist as we try to touch the front of the wrist. We bring those bird beaks onto our shoulders, steering the heart front and relaxing those shoulders. Now switching the clasp of the fingers. We're going to walk the fingers one over. We're going to bring our hands behind the back of our head. We'll press the head into the hands to widen the elbows, open heart and throat, and then we'll stretch those hands high to the sky. From here, with the inhale, gathering up the energy. On the exhale, cactus arms as we offer it out. And we'll do this a few times, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. We're halfway done. Breathing in, breathing out. Last two. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one. Breathing in, breathing out. Now holding these cactus arms. The elbows move back. The wrists come with. We can wiggle those fingers. Why not? And then turning warrior one into warrior two as hands find the heart. We open up the hips to face the side wall. We might narrow the stance just a tad. Classically, it's heel to arch alignment. You might work it wider than that, of course. And then one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. From here, painting rainbows. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Last one coming up. We'll hold. As we reach up higher, bottom hand goes down a little further. Enjoy the stretch. And then back to our warrior two. From here, finding the rainbow warrior, finding that other clasp of the fingers behind the back. Shoulder blades back and down onto rib shelf. Keeping that as we find a forward fold. And then once we're in the forward fold, I'm about to let those shoulders drape towards the ears as we stretch out our upper back. Enjoying the stretch. I'll invite you to add a little swing, a little sway, whatever feels right and good as we release any tension in the neck and shoulders and just letting that tension drain down through the crown of the head into the earth. In the rainbow warrior, I'll suggest a strong tuck of the chin as we bring it on up. Try to keep that separation there if you can, just for you. So here, rather than here, keep that going. And as you come on up. And we'll be back to our warrior two. Transitioning to triangle, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. We're going to deepen that crease as we lengthen those ribs. Grounding bottom hand down, that right hand can open up the right shoulder. We can stretch that hand high to the sky, either looking down, off to the side, or up past those top fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. As we hold the triangle with every breath in, breathing into your center of balance, with every breath out from that place of power, getting bigger in space from the inside out. As we connect the center of ourselves to the periphery of the universe. Exploring that lateral top line as we exhale that top hand front, turning our heart to the floor. On the inhale, lifting hand high as we spin heart to sky. Let's do this a few times. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. We're halfway done. Exhale and inhale. Last two here. Exhale and inhale. Last one. We'll hold as we reach. I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers. Now the bottom hand joins pure side motion, no twist to the torso. Arms hug the ears as we breathe two hands up. And exhale it over. Breathing it up. Exhale it over. Inhale it up. Exhale it over. We're halfway done. Breathing it up. Exhale it over. Inhale it up. Exhale it over. Last one coming up. Inhale it up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach. Again, wiggling those fingers, keeping our hands supple. And then moving either back to the triangle or playing with your half moon. And let's set it up if you choose the balance. So we take a step in. We can use two hands to set the base. Once we have our base, we can lift the back leg. That second hand can stay right on the floor. It might find the hip. Maybe we open up the shoulder. Maybe we stretch hand high to the sky. And again, always finding that balance between your effort and your ease. Working hard, but not so hard that you start to get winded or exhausted or anxious. And again, as we hold the shape another breath or two, breathing into your center of balance, and from that place, finding more amplitude in the shape. Coming down easily, hand finds the hip. We can land a short stance, no worries. Shifting the weight into the feet as we come back up. Lengthening the stance as we come back to our warrior two. And then a big windmill of the arms as we find our low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. And again, take your time, find your flow. There she is. And from down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step, or maybe take a jump to the front of the mat. Beautiful. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. One more time this morning, we'll come back to our chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, glutes engaged to support a back bend at the top. On the exhale, relaxing the glutes as we stand tall. I'll invite you to bring hands to heart, this time finding a clasp of the fingers. The heels of the hands stay together as we try to pull the hands apart, elbows out to the side, shoulders engaged. Again, adding that tuck of the tail, that tuck of the chin, as we connect with the strength of our center. And then hands by our side. From here, let's step or jump our feet out wide like a house. Let's angle out the feet just a tad. Hands find the hips, and we're going to rock it into half squat as we take it on down. In half squat, we can bring knees over heels as elbows find the inner thighs, hands find the heart. And I'd like to keep rocking this squat from side to side. Depending on where your knees are, either this morning or in life, you'll either stay here in half squat, or we'll take it all the way down to full squat. And you might have to adjust those feet a little bit. And just getting into those hips. Again, I'll invite you to add a little swing, a little sway, just stirring it up. Getting that life force flowing in those hips. And then wherever you're working, either half or full squat, we'll land the knees lightly. We'll bring our feet off to one side, and let's come onto the floor, and let's do some floor exercise. So we'll do some roll downs and roll ups. Let me adjust the camera here. So we got good floor action. Oops, there it is. Strictly professional here. All right, cool. All right, so we got good view of the floor here. We're gonna find the top of our yoga space. We'll start from tall spine, so the back of the head's in line with the sacrum, so it's called neutral spine. Frankenstein arms. Make sure you got some room behind you. We'll do a full body stretch when we get down. So breathe in to sit tall. On the exhale, tucking chin and tail, we call this C-spine, as we slowly roll ourselves down. On the inhale, full body stretch, arms overhead, arms by the ears, not too low. We want to keep the ribs soft and drawing in. Low back's going to lift a little bit here. On the exhale, flexing hands and feet, tucking the chin, pressing the back into the mat. That's called imprinting as we roll ourselves up. When we get to our sit, finding tall spine, Frankenstein arms, inhaling. On the exhale, C-spine as we find back heart. Inhaling back to tall spine. On the exhale, C-spine as we slowly roll ourselves down. Inhaling full body stretch as we stretch long on the floor. Low back's going to lift a little bit here. Exhaling, flexing hands and feet, pressing the back into the mat as we roll ourselves up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine as we roll ourselves down. Inhaling, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling ourselves up. We're halfway done. Breathing into tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhaling, rolling ourselves down. Inhale, full body stretch, low back lifts. Exhale, pressing the back into the mat as we roll ourselves up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. We have 2 more to go. Exhaling as we roll ourselves down. Inhaling, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling ourselves up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhaling, rolling ourselves down. We got 1 more to go. Breathing in, full body stretch, low back lifts. Exhaling, pressing the back into the mat as we roll ourselves up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. And exhaling, draping yourself over those legs as we relax our shoulders, a soft tuck of the chin. As we breathe into back heart. As we hold the seated forward fold, I'll invite you to lift up a sits bone just a tad and walk it back just a tad. And then other side as we get a nice stretch and each side of our low back. A couple more times each way. And then back to center, grounded down through 2 sits bones, and maybe folding a little deeper into the shape. Be mindful of your back. From here, let's move towards the classic yoga abdominal exercise. So a tuck of the chin as we come back up to tall spine. We're going to scoot our heels in a little bit. Peace sign fingers are going to catch the big toes. In this one, we tuck the tail a little bit. We're going to balance on our tailbone, but we stay very wide, very open in the heart and throat chakra. So we start to balance on our tailbone as we lift our heels. Either staying here with bent legs or lengthening through those legs. As we balance on our tailbone, I invite you to spread those legs wider as we get a wonderful stretch in our inner thighs. Moving towards our boat pose the hard way. We connect the legs, either keeping everything straight or bending the legs as we let go and keep everything high. From here, finding a butterfly in the air, soles of the feet connect. Thumbs can catch the insoles of the feet. Take a breath to sit tall. This is butterfly pose. And then leading with the heart as we fold and hold. Relax shoulders, relax neck, soft tuck of the chin. There's a mantra that goes with this, an affirmation. I go deep within to find all that I need. Now a tuck of the chin as we bring it on up, and peace sign fingers again are going to catch those big toes. We tuck the tail a little bit as we balance on our tailbone, either staying here, 2 legs bent, or long through 2 legs, nice and wide with those thighs. Moving towards the boat pose the hard way. Easier would be to bend the legs. We connect the legs, either keeping peace sign fingers on big toes or letting go without dropping a thing. Smooth breaths in, smooth breaths out. Breath in, breath out. And then finding a butterfly. This time let's go long and wide with the feet. So it's a butterfly with the soles, the feet are apart. And we're going to feed our forearms underneath our shins. This is called Kurmasana, the tortoise pose. We'll take a forward fold. Think length as you descend into the forward fold. And then relaxing those shoulders. You can use that same affirmation, that same mantra. I go deep within to find all that I need. And with every exhale breath, just letting your groin soften, letting your sits bones heavy into the floor. Nice stretch for the low back here. From here, a tuck of the chin. Let's unfeed the arms from out underneath the shins. One more time, peace sign fingers catch the big toes. We balance on our tailbone, a little tuck of the tail, open heart, open throat, as we stretch those legs wide to the sky, Opening up those legs, stretching out those inner thighs feels so good. And then finding the boat the hard way. We connect the legs, either keeping that peace sign finger to toe attachment or letting go without dropping a thing. Smooth breaths in. Smooth breaths out. Breath in. Breath out. We cross the ankles once, twice, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'll show you the easy way to roll over the knees. We're going to draw our feet in as hands catch the feet. We're going to release the feet, hands find the hips. We press into the floor to lift our hips up, and then we can easily roll over the knees without bearing too much weight, either finding your down dog or cycling through vinyasa, yogi's choice. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Welcome everyone. From our down dog shape, let's do another floor sequence, this time on our bellies. I'll invite you to come forward to plank pose. Shoulders over wrists. Holding the plank as we feel that connection between the head, the hips, and the heels. So on the next one, some of us may use the knees, some of us may not, but a yoga push-up all the way down as elbows shave the ribs. Beautiful. Nice. Yeah, feel free to use those knees. When we get down, we're going to find Makrasana, or the crocodile pose. A cross of the forearms, forehead heavy on forearms as you rest and relax on the floor. From Makrasana, let's move towards the Sphinx pose as we bring elbows under shoulders, spreading those fingers wide, shoulder blades back and down. From here, let's warm up our lower back as we rock from hip point to hip point, just stretching it out. Adding a little dipping of the shoulders. When we rock towards one side, we dip a shoulder, other side, other shoulder. Adding a little swing of the head side to side as we connect the crown of our head to the base of our spine. And then back to center, ears in line with shoulders, ears and shoulders in line with hips as we find our Sphinx. From here, I'll invite you to move towards forearm plank as you tuck the toes. We lift the thighs. We draw that low belly in and up as we reconnect the head, the hips, and the heels. Nice, beautiful. From here, let's stretch out the fascia of the feet as we rock to the tips of the toes and then back to the base. Finding the tips and base. Tips and base. Tips and base. We got 2 more to go. Tips and base. Now finding the tips and holding. Breath in. Breath out. Back to the base and holding. Breath in. Breath out. And then landing the knees, unfurling the feet, landing those hips, pulling back with your elbows to lengthen front heart. And then switching the cross of the forearms as you let yourself be super heavy on the floor. Great place to connect with your breath. Your body has no choice but to rise and fall because we've restricted the movement of the diaphragm. So it's like being on a surfboard or a pool float. From here, let's move towards grasshopper pose as we ground down through the chin, hands by our hips, the palms face up. Yeah, so we're going to bring those hands by the hips, that's it. From here, we'll lift heart and head. We'll lift the legs. We'll lift the arms as we fly through the air. Beautiful. From here, let's rock our grasshopper. As we lower the toes, we lift the heart. As we lower the heart, we lift the toes. The whole body works together. So we lower the toes, lift the heart. Lower heart, lift toes. Toes down, heart up. Heart down, toes up. We're halfway done. Toes down, heart up. Beautiful. Heart down, toes up. Last 2. Toes down, heart up. Heart down, toes up. Last 1. Toes down, heart up. Heart down, toes up. And then neither lifted nor lowered as we fly through the air. Shoulders are drawing away from the ears. Fingers are trying to touch those toes. Toes are trying to touch that far wall. Crown of the head is reaching for the front. And then lowering down, turning your head to one side as you rest and relax for a couple of breaths. Now lifting your head and turning it the other way. Notice how your neck feels on this second side. Most of us have a preferred side. Most of us don't go there first. From here, let's find a rocking horse push-up As we bring our hands under our shoulders, grounding down through the chin. The knees stay down. We lift the hips up for the inchworm. And we want to keep the hips lifting the whole time as we push hard into the hands to lift ourselves up. Beautiful. Look at that. And then stretching it back to a child's pose as we nestle our belly in between our thighs. As we hold the child's pose, letting your belly massage your thighs as you breathe in. Letting your thighs massage your belly as you breathe out. Now in our child's pose, keeping hips and heels just as they are, I'll invite you to walk your hands to one side as you stretch far hip to far heel. Now walking your hands through center and finding that second side as you stretch other hip to other heel. Now coming back center, let's find an all fours position on our mat or floor. I'll go, you can see my head. Kathy will stay just as she is. We'll work the cat dog stretch. So we're on all fours, knees are under hips. Taking a breath to lift chin and tail as we arc the back. Breathing out as we tuck toes, we tuck tail, as we tuck chin, as we round the spine. So it's a C-spine on our knees. Breathing in, lifting up, finding the arc. Breathing out, finding the arch. One more time like this, keeping it simple. Breathing in and breathing out. Now we'll throw child's pose into the mix. Breathing in, finding the arc. Rounding the spine, sits bones back to the heels. Inhaling, finding the arc. On the exhale, finding the arch. One more time. Breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, drawing it back. Let's add side to side. Breathing in, finding the arc. And then drawing it back to one heel. Inhaling, finding the arc. On the exhale, finding that other heel. 2 more times each way. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, drawing it back. 1 more time each side. Breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, drawing it back. Inhaling, lifting it up. Exhaling, drawing it back. Let's throw a figure 8 into the mix. Breathing in, coming up center. Drawing it back to a heel. Keep the hips low as you find that other heel. Up on the other diagonal, shifting shoulders and hips and back to first heel. 2 more times this direction. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, drawing it back. We'll take it the other way. Up on the other diagonal, shifting shoulders and hips and back to second heel. Inhale it up. Exhale, drawing it back. 1 more time, breathing in. Breathing out, taking it back. And then back to an all fours position. We can walk the hands just a little bit front. And we'll get to our down dog with the cat dog stretch. Breathing in, lifting chin and tail. And then tucking the toes, tailbone high, high, high. And then finding your neutral spine as you push into the hands and stretch those heels down. As we hold this down dog, walking the dog from side to side, bending one leg deeply as you ground down through the opposite heel. Moving back and forth, second side, just stretching it out. How does your body feel this morning? What feels tight? What feels right? What feels somewhere in between? And either keep doing this for a few breaths, or if you want to generate more tapas or heat, you might cycle through vinyasa as you find your chaturanga. Inhaling into your up dog or cobra, and then stretching it back to your down dog. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep, full breath. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly, lifting the tailbone a little higher, more space in that low back. And then looking between the hands as you step, or maybe take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding. Let's hold the forward fold as we go wide with our feet, catching opposite elbows and gently swinging it from side to side. Let those shoulders be super, super heavy. Again, getting that nice stretch in our upper back. Switching the cross of the elbows, keep swinging it side to side.
And then back to center, a tuck of the chin, hands find the thighs for the assisted roll-up. We push into the thighs as we slowly roll ourselves up. Lifting the chin tall to the crown. Feel free to do this with us. Touching our ears, touching our shoulders. Ears and shoulders over hips as we touch the hips. Touching the ears, touching the shoulders, touching the hips. Hands by our side, ears, shoulders, hips over heels as we stand tall and breathe. From here, let's jump it in thin like a pin. Finding our chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, glutes engaged, a back bend at the top. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length, and then breathing out, back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. From down dog, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, finding a three-legged dog, right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes. Lifted leg straight as we stack the hips, right hip on top of left. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip. And then moving towards our swan, some folks call it the pigeon, as we swing that right knee towards right wrist. I'll suggest keeping the knee joint closed. Walking left foot back as we settle those hips. The tips of 10 fingers as we bring the shoulder blades back and down. And then leading with the heart, trying to keep that arc to the back as long as you can as you walk those hands forward. Arms in extension, so more length in your spine, more length, more length, more length. That's it. And then when you can't find any more length, also just relaxing the shape as you pace the palms down. If you can bring the forehead to the ground, awesome. Yeah, just let it be a little more relaxed. As your forehead presses into the ground, feel the back of your head relax, feel your shoulders relax. Great place to breathe into back hard. As we hold the shape, another couple of breaths, and I'll invite you to bring your mind to your hips. And even though they're not going to move, stretching your hips away from the midline as we find a little more space in the very center of ourselves. Arms in extension. Let's walk the hands back. Let's find a forearm perpendicular to the rest of the body here on the bent knee side of things. Other hand out to the side. We'll pull back with that forearm as we turn our heart away from that bent front leg. Giving ourselves the exact right amount of traction. That's right and good for us this morning. Now finding that other perpendicular forearm, other outrigger hand, and we're going to pull back with that forearm to turn our heart towards that bent front leg. Again, just giving yourself the exact right amount of traction that's right and good for you this morning. Now coming back center, finding the tips of 10 fingers, shoulder blades backing down, and we're going to really engage first, second, and third chakra as we draw pelvic diaphragm towards breath diaphragm up towards heart diaphragm, as we float our hands up and stretch them high to the sky. So warrior one arms. Beautiful, look at that. Long through each side waist, long through those arms, long through those fingers, a little lift of the chin, a little smile on the face. How good does it get? And then spinning those palms out as you ground down, tucking that back toe as you find a three-legged dog. So try to keep that leg bent as you push into the hands. And then carefully opening up that knee joint. Maybe give that leg a little shake. Once you've grounded down through that right foot, maybe walking the dog from side to side. Or if you want to generate a little more heat or tapas, you might choose to cycle through vinyasa, yogi's choice. Flowing with your breath, enjoying the process. Again, there's no rush. When you're ready, we'll move towards that second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip, that's it. And we're going to try to keep that knee joint closed. We're going to bring that left knee towards left wrist as we move towards our swan or our pigeon pose. Walking that right foot back as we settle the hips at the same rate. The tips of 10 fingers when you're ready, as we bring those shoulder blades back and down, yeah, nice and open in the heart. And you want to keep that openness, keeping that arc to the back as you lay yourself down, almost like putting a piece of tape onto a counter. You want to keep that tape long. When you can't go anymore, also just relaxing the shape as we paste the palms down. You might bring the arms in a little bit as you bring your forehead down to the ground. Letting that press of the forehead into the ground, that's our sixth chakra, or our third eye. Also an acupressure point that turns on our parasympathetic nervous system, the system that enables us to rest and relax. So feeling that resting and that relaxing in the back of the head, the neck, the shoulders. And then as we hold the shape, I'll invite you to put your mind in your hips, and they're not going to move anywhere, but stretching the hips away from the midpoint as you find more space in the very center of yourself. And breathing into that space. From arms in extension, let's walk the hands in. Let's find a perpendicular form on the bent knee side of things. Other hand out to the side. We'll pull back with that form as we turn our heart away from that bent front leg. Giving ourselves the exact right amount of traction that's right and good for us this morning. Now turning our heart back to the front. Other perpendicular form, other outrigger hand, and we'll pull back with that form as we turn our heart towards that bent front leg. Again, giving yourself exactly the right amount of traction that's right and good for you. Now coming back center, finding the tips of 10 fingers as we set those shoulder blades back and down, and everything lifts up. So Mula Bandha, we've got Uddiyana Bandha. You might even feel a lift of the sternum, and I'll suggest lifting the chin, so no Jalandhara Bandha in this one. As we start to float those hands up to the sky, so everything lifts up. Feeling that strength of your center. Long through the side waist, long through the arms, also just lifting the head. A little smile on the face, maybe a big smile on the face. Welcoming the day, getting that sun to rise up even further. Beautiful, yeah. You do things with your wrists, just enjoy the shape. And then spinning the palms out, grounding down through two hands, tugging the back toes. Yeah, they got that one. Kathy knows this pose. And then finding your three-legged dog, keeping the knee joint closed, and then carefully opening the knee. And then grounding down through 2 feet. And maybe walking the dog, maybe cycling through vinyasa one last time if you choose to do that. Awesome. Beautiful. Look at that. And from down dog, I'll suggest finding a child's pose as we land those knees lightly, nestling our belly inside our thighs. And take your time next. Let yourself settle into the shape, like pouring oatmeal into a bowl, which might happen in a little bit. Kathy likes to stretch out her wrists, which is an awesome thing to do. She works on a keyboard much of the day, so I'm sure that's a place where she gets, she needs more movement, or she enjoys that movement, because most of the time she's doing this. In our child's pose, I'll invite you to walk your hands back. Let's find a kneeling hero pose. I love this particular shape. For many of us, it's challenging, but we sit on our feet. The tops of our toes are down. One palm supports the other. I'm going to block Kathy here. Let me go half frame here. Why don't you go off to the side just a tad. Yeah. Nice. Relax shoulders. Now, if this is too much, you could always sit up and take the weight of the body out of the equation. One palm supports the other as we find our breath. So another thing that happens when we keyboard a lot is our shoulders start to draw in. So let's work Garudasana arms, eagle arms, arms out to the side. We're going to bring right under left as we connect the palms and lift the elbows up, up, and away. As you press the palms together, feel the shoulders moving away from the spine as you breathe into back heart. From here, let's release this wind of the arms. One palm supports the other as we find our breath. Let's do another little stretch for the foot here on our second side. So I'll invite you to tuck the toes And we're going to sit on our feet, and we'll stretch out that place where the toe and the foot connect. This can be super intense. If it's too intense, of course, just take the weight of the body out of the equation as you sit up a little bit. One palm supports the other. Whatever you're feeling, just watching it like you'd watch a cloud in the sky, not overly attaching, whether it's pleasurable or less than pleasurable. Moving towards our Garudasana arms, our eagle arms, second side, arms out to the side. This time, left under right. Hooking the palms as we press those palms together. Feel the shoulder blades are moving away from the spine as you find more space in back heart, and then breathing into that space. Releasing this wind of the arms, one palm supports the other, finding our breath. Let's sneak in one more squat, Malasana. As we lift the knees, we separate the knees, the big toes stay touching. We lay our body long between those knees, very similar to the child's pose in terms of the stretch. As we hold Malasana, the garland pose, feeling length not just in the spine, but on those inner shins as you push the big toes down and stretch those knees wide. Now walking the hands in, let's close the knees to challenge our balance. One hand finds the heart, perhaps the other hand joins. Perhaps we stretch those hands high to the sky. Spinning the palms out, landing those knees lightly. Let's bring our feet off to one side. Two long legs in front. I'll suggest giving those knees a little love and consideration, a hand on each side. Fingers find the back of the knee. And we can give that kneecap a little wiggle. Same deal, second side, a hand on each side, just warming up that connective tissue. Fingers find the back of the knee. And then giving that kneecap a little wiggle. From here, let's do a roll down onto our back. So we start from tall spine. We find C-spine as we slowly roll ourselves down. Full body stretch when we get down there, arms overhead. And then I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your belly, one hand on top of the other, and finding a belly breath. And just watching our hands rise and fall as we breathe. You might let your breath sigh out through your mouth. Let's do one last shake before we lay down and relax. As we draw our knees into our armpits, soles of the feet face the sky. We either catch our ankles at the outside edges of the feet for our happy baby. As we hold the happy baby, heading those knees on down, gently rocking our baby side to side, massaging our kidneys, relaxing our low back. And then bringing your baby back center, coming back to a focus on your breath, watching as it flows in and out. And into that space. I'll invite you to find your Shavasana as we lengthen through our legs, arms out to the side, scooting the head back as we flatten the shoulders. Doing whatever else feels right and good for you this morning. And we won't be here too long. A couple of minutes, or less than a couple minutes. Tip of the tongue is now neutral in the mouth. A slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. I'm going to ring these yoga bells 3 times. I'll invite you to move your mind before you move your body. Bringing your attention back to your breath, watching as it flows in and out. Like watching a river as the river flows by. Now shaping your breath as you find a long, slow inhalation, matched by an even longer, slower exhalation. So letting that exhale breath be a little bit longer, a little bit slower than the inhale breath as we find a more relaxing breath. Now rippling fingers and toes as we invite more life force into our bodies. Circling wrists and ankles as we invite that life force in towards center. Now drawing one knee at a time in towards your heart as your hands catch your shins. And using your thighs to massage your low belly as you gently lift and lower your low back and hips. Maybe adding a little side to side, a little circling, whatever feels right and good for you as we connect with the most important teacher in any room, that teacher inside yourself. Keeping the knees close in, stretching long through an arm, rolling onto one side, letting that arm serve as a cushion for the head. As we share a long, slow breath here on the floor, I invite you to let that breath sigh out through your mouth as you soften your shoulders, relax your jaw, soften the corners of your eyes. And then an easeful tuck of the chin as you press on up to find a cross-legged sit. Rounded down through two sits bones, I'll invite you to take the heels of your hands to your thighs and pushing the thighs away as we sit up a little straighter, a little taller. A slight tuck of the chin as 5 fingers of one hand find the ground. The palm of the other hand faces the sky. Ending our practice as we started, watching as our breath flows in and watching as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart and bow as you thank yourself for practicing yoga. And as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world, the light within me honors and respects the light within you. And in this light, we are one. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank everybody for practicing with us. Thank you, Kathy, for practicing with me. And we'll see everybody soon, either virtually or if you're in the city, I'm teaching some classes on the roof and in the pavilion at the gateway. So we'd love to see you in person. Otherwise, we'll see you in this format. Have a great, great day. What do I do here?